स्थापकाय च धर्मस्य सर्वधर्मस्वरूपिणे अवतारवरिष्ठाय रामकृष्णाय ते नमः। Namaskar to all of you. Few days back, it was the birthday of one of the direct disciples of Sri Ramakrishna, whom Sri Ramakrishna considered as one of the Ishvara Kotis and also the reincarnation of Arjuna, the great warrior of Mahabharata. His name was Yogindranath, or lovingly he was called as Yogin. In Bengali it will be called as Jogindra or Jogin. To connect the subject, the life and teachings, many beautiful teachings are there of Sri Ramakrishna connected with the life of Yogin Maharaj or Swami Yoganandaji. That's why I have to take a little more time, because for spiritual seekers, they are really very useful. So to connect to the subject, I will go through some humors. One of the doctor, a surgeon, told his patient before the surgery, "You will be able to meet your family after the surgery tomorrow." But the patient told, "Doctor, I am alone. All the family members have passed away." To which the doctor replied, "I know that you will be going there." All of us are instructed by many that we should have positive attitude. Should this be the positive attitude? One obese lady to her dietitian. She told her dietitian, the doctor, "Doctor, what I am worried about is my height, not my weight." To which the doctor told, "How come?" The obese lady told, "According to my weight, my height should be 7.8 feet. Now this is called positive attitude. She is not worried about the weight, but according to my weight, my height should be 7.8. I am only 5.7 feet. So I should have been taller. So how come, according to my weight, she is not worried about her reducing the weight, but she is worried about increasing her height?" So this is not positive attitude. Now, let us see about, is this self-confidence? A man wrote to the bank, "My check was returned with remark insufficient funds. I want to know whether it refers to my bank account or the funds in the bank." Check was returned with remark insufficient funds. So such a self-confidence at its peak, he is telling, "I want to know whether insufficient fund in my bank account or in your bank." Now, another with last story, a real incident which happened during World War II. A man was arrested in London for calling Winston Churchill, the Prime Minister of England at that time, the then PM of UK, a fool. The person had written in his column the PM as fool, Winston Churchill. The next day now he was arrested. The police arrested him. The next day in the House of Commons, the opposition members were ready to roast the government for this. Are we living in a police state? They shouted. We cannot call the Prime Minister of our country a fool. Churchill's reply was truly disarming. So the man was not arrested. So Churchill told here in the House, the man was not arrested for calling me or the Prime Minister a fool. Churchill said, but for letting out a state secret at the time of war. He let out the state secret at the time of war. So that can be called real sense of humor. In spite of so many voices and sounds, silence is considered ultimate. In spite of so much to eat, fasting is considered healthy. In spite of having many places to travel and explore, meditation in solitary place is considered superior. In spite of so much to see, closing your eyes and looking within is apex. In spite of listening to all the outside world, voice from inside you is eternal. Now, let us see through the life of Swami Yoganandaji and the teachings of Sri Ramakrishna, what is real spiritual life. Now, Yogin, a teenaged Brahmin boy from the village of Dakshineshwar, used to visit this temple garden, Dakshineshwar, quite often. Why? To bathe in the Ganga or also pick flower for the worship of his family, ancestral deities. One day, while this young Jogin, that boy, was picking flowers in the temple garden, he met a middle-aged man walking in the flower garden, and this boy Yogin wrongly thought, thinking that this man was a gardener, a worker in the garden. He thought he was a gardener. Yogin sought his help. But see the attitude of Sri Ramakrishna, the avatara, the highly realized soul. Now, immediately this man joyfully picked some flowers and gave them to Yogin. Some years later, at the age of 16 or 17, Yogin read an article about the life and teachings of Sri Ramakrishna in Sulabh Samachar, a journal of the Brahma Samaj, written by Keshab Chandra Sen. He decided to visit Sri Ramakrishna. With the journal in hand, Yogin arrived at Sri Ramakrishna's veranda and found the room filled with Brahma devotees. He was amazed to find that the man whom he had thought was a gardener, and he asked him to pick some flowers, and whom his friend called a mad Brahmin, was actually Sri Ramakrishna. Now you could see the attitude of Sri Ramakrishna, so humble and egoless. Now Yogin, being too shy to enter the room, he stood outside the door of Sri Ramakrishna, attentively listening to the spiritual conversation. Meanwhile, now because Yogin couldn't come in, but Sri Ramakrishna, who could know everything, he knew everything about what is going to happen, what was happening, and he would read the mind of people. Such was the yogic power of Sri Ramakrishna. He could know that the Arjuna's incarnation, who would be this one of his great direct disciple, has come there outside. Meanwhile, Sri Ramakrishna said to a devotee, call those people inside who are standing on the veranda. The devotee went out and found only Yogin, who was standing there, and brought him into the room, where Sri Ramakrishna was explaining the philosophy of divine love, bhakti, In simple language, Yogin was caught in the spell of Sri Ramakrishna's words and sat transfixed. Thus, Sri Ramakrishna talked to Yogin for some time. When Yogin was about to leave, the master said, "Come again." Now Yogin agreed. While he was returning home, the boy thought, "This man must be a saint who has seen God. People do not understand that, and therefore they laugh at him. How else can one account for such words of devotion, such divine love, and such ecstasy in the name of God?" The next day, Yogin went straight to Sri Ramakrishna, who was glad to see him. The master recognized Yogin as one of his inner circle and said to him, "It is wonderful that we have come to know each other now. You must come often. You have been born into a noble family and possess many characteristics of spiritual greatness. You will easily advance on this spiritual path." Yogendranath Roy Chaudhuri. That was the full name of Yogin. Yogendranath or Jogendranath Roy Chaudhuri was born into a well-to-do aristocratic family at Dakshineshwar on 30th March 1861. Yogin developed a religious tendency very early in life. When he was a child of 5, he would often be overwhelmed with spiritual feelings. In the midst of play, as a small child, a serious thought would suddenly possess him, and he would lose all interest in the sport. He would withdraw into a quiet corner and, looking at the sky, ask himself, "Where am I? Certainly, I don't belong here. These are not my playmates. I have other friends and companions. I must have come from one of those stars. But which one? I do not know. And why am I here if I belong to another world? Is this all a dream?" Now, Yogin had learnt from Master that one can realize God only through renunciation of lust and greed. So, Yogin resolved in his young age that he would not marry. At that time, there was a Hatha Yogi. Who are Hatha Yogis? Those people who will do lot of yoga abhyasa and asanas, varieties of asana, to strengthen different limbs or parts of the body, internal and external, and make it long living. That's all is their aim, to increase the longevity. That's all, nothing else. It's not spiritual. It is just meditation, yoga, all that asanas will be done just to increase the longevity so that they can enjoy the life. Now they are called Hatha Yogis. So there lived near Dakshineshwar in a hut, a Hatha Yogi named Narayana. He was attracting some people's curiosity by showing them the art of neti, dhauti. So it is just to show off. Neti means gradually swallowing a long thin piece of wet cloth and then pulling it out. Dhauti means drinking about a gallon of water and throwing it up. This is how Hatha Yogis cleanse their system to prevent diseases and keep their bodies fit now to live long. After observing the yogi, Yogin felt that lust would not vanish and God could not be realized without practicing these Hatha Yoga techniques. One day, Yogin found master alone in his room and asked him, "Sir, could you teach me how to conquer lust?" Lust is intense desire for bodily pleasures is lust. So now Cupid, how to conquer lust? To which Sri Ramakrishna replied, chant the name of Hari. Who is Hari? Hari means the Lord who apaharati, steals away all the problems of our life, or who will steal away our mind towards himself. Because of that, the Lord is called Hari. Especially, it is told to Lord Narayana, Krishna, Rama. In that way, any god or goddess is called Hari. Then it will go away. Chant the name of Lord. Then it will go away, answered Master. Please note. Very simple to conquer any habit of yours. What is that? Chanting the name of Lord. Master is telling Yogin, chant the name of Hari, then it will go away, answered the Master. This simple remedy did not convince Yogin. We are all like that. We should be given something complicated, then you have to charge them some $100 and $1,000. Then only you think, oh, there is something in that. You do that kriya, this Shambhavi mudra, that mudra, this mudra, you have to drink water not through the mouth, through the nose and all those things. Then only you think that it is something very great and spiritual. Simple things. Spiritual life is very simple. When simple things are given, you don't have faith. See here, Master is telling, chant the name of Hari. Then it will go away. This simple remedy did not convince Yogin. He thought that the Master did not know any practical method and had prescribed something useless. Moreover, he thought, so many people are repeating name of Hari. So many. See, you go to the procession somewhere which is happening, they will be chanting the Lord's name, everybody. Even if you go to there in Calcutta, prostitute's house, the prostitutes also will be chanting. So what has happened? Nothing. So that doubt came into the mind of Yogin. Moreover, he thought, so many people are repeating the name of Hari. Why doesn't lust not vanish in them? The next day, Yogin went straight to that Hatha Yogi. And while he sat listening to the Yogi, Sri Ramakrishna arrived. The Master took Yogin's hand and asked Yogin to follow him. While they were walking towards his room, the Master said, why did you go there? Don't do that. If you just think of doing these exercises, your mind will only stick to the body. If you learn these techniques of Hatha Yoga, it will then not thirst for God. You'll become body conscious instead of Atman conscious. Again, Yogin doubted Sri Ramakrishna. He thought that the Master discouraged him from visiting the Hatha Yogi to keep him from running away. However, Yogin thought again, why don't I practice it, what Master has told me? Why don't I do that, what he has told to do, and see what happens? Later, Yogin said, thinking thus, I took the name of Hari. I took the name of Hari with a concentrated mind and devotion, and as a matter of fact, shortly afterwards, I began to experience the tangible result mentioned by the Master. So faith is the answer. Do what your Guru has told. You will get everything. The worm of doubt is spoiling everything. After Yogin's entrance examination, he began to live with Sri Ramakrishna for longer periods of time and to spend more time in meditation. Now, Yogin was spending more time in meditation, prayer. His absent-minded things to the worldly things alarmed his uncle, who wrote to Yogin's father, Naveen, urging him to arrange for his son's marriage. Otherwise, he will become a monk and go away. This is a common way of binding seekers of God to this mundane world. What is the simple remedy? If somebody is thinking of God, marry them off. Finish. Nothing to worry. So, the same remedy was suggested by his uncle to his father Naveen. Naveen thought that this would be a wise thing to do, and knowing his son's apathy towards the world, he made arrangements for the marriage without telling Yogin, lest the boy run away. Naveen wrote his brother-in-law to send Yogin home on the pretext. He wrote a lie. Pretext of his mother's illness. With an anxious heart, Yogin rushed to Dakshineshwar, because Dakshineshwar is a village and his house was nearby. It's not the Dakshineshwar temple, near the temple. So he rushed to his house, but to his great dismay, he found everybody jubilant in the house. Nobody was sick. They were all jubilant over his forthcoming marriage. He was terribly upset. What lie! He was terribly upset. And he plainly told his father that he wouldn't marry. Now Naveen, his father, tried to persuade him, but the boy remained adamant. Naveen that his father, was in awkward position, for he had given his word to the bride's father. It would be utterly disgraceful to withdraw now. At last, Yogin's mother came to him and with tearful eyes and implored her son to marry and save his father's reputation. Now, what was the word uttered by mother? Yogin, my child, even if you are unwilling to marry, marry for my sake, dear. Just for my sake. She said. Yogin was very soft-hearted and gentle by nature. His mother's passionate appeal undermined his firm resolution. Yogin bowed his head before the decree of fate and married a beautiful daughter of Madhusudana Roy, who lived close to Dakshineshwar. People usually get married to find happiness, but Yogin's marriage turned out to be full of misery. With all his gentleness, Yogin had another side to his nature. What is that? His strong independence. Forced to marry, he rebelled like a caged lion that desperately wants to be free. When Yogin was taken to the bridal chamber, immediately after the ceremony, he began to chant God's name. Even though the bride's female companions laughed at him, he was chanting God's name. Yogin and his wife never slept in the same bed. Soon after the wedding, he went to visit his wife's home. After supper, he went to the roof and walked there the whole night instead of going to the bed. The next morning, he returned home before anyone got up. Later on, when Swami Vivekananda heard about it, he remarked, if there is anyone amongst us, that is the direct disciples, who had conquered lust in all respects, it is Yogin. Sri Ramakrishna mentioned that 6 of his disciples, including Yogin, were Ishvara Kotis. Who are Ishvara Kotis? An Ishvara Koti is a godlike soul who is eternally free from the bondage of karma, is not born due to the pressure of the karma, but by his own will to help humanity under the command of God. They are Ishvara Kotis. And who allows himself to be born simply to do good to humanity. The Master also declared that Yogin had been Arjuna, the hero of Mahabharata in his previous life. Now, Yogin later described his mental condition As soon as I married, the thought came to me that the hope of God realization was now a mockery. Now why should I, if that is the case, if I cannot realize God, I will be drowned in worldliness, why should I go to Master? The sooner I die, the better for me. Now, Yogin tells, I used to visit Master daily, but after this event, I stopped going to him altogether and spent my days in utter despair and repentance and depression. Now, rumors travels fast. Such news travels fast. Sri Ramakrishna heard about Yogin's marriage and was anxious to see his disciple. He sent for him repeatedly, but Yogin did not come there at all. Everyone said he had changed since his marriage and that he would not even mention Sri Ramakrishna's name. As Yogin disregarded his repeated summons, the Master hit upon a beautiful plan. What was the plan? He knew that before Yogin's marriage, a man from the Kali temple, maybe an official, had given Yogin a few rupees to buy some articles for him. Yogin had sent the articles to the man through a friend and sent word that also that he would soon return the balance of the money. Master, the all-knowing Sarvagna, even though nobody had told him, Master knew this. He sent word that the Master therefore sent this message to Yogin. What sort of a man, Yogin, you are? A man gave you money to buy certain articles and you have neither returned the balance nor even sent word when you will return it. Now he knew how to bring him back. Pride. He put the pressure on his pride. These words touched Yogin's pride and he was grievously wounded. He thought, the Master considers me to be a cheat. Even after such a long association, well, I'll go there today and somehow put an end to the quarrel, and afterwards I will never again turn my step towards the Kali temple. In the afternoon, Yogin went to the Kali temple. He saw from a distance that Master was standing outside his room as if in ecstasy. As soon as he saw Yogin, he came running quickly saying, Oh Yogin, what if you are married? What if you are married? Haven't I too been married? What is there to be afraid of it in that? If you have the grace of this place, Master is touching his heart and is telling, if you have the grace of Sri Ramakrishna, he would never tell I, because he had completely obliterated ego. So he used to tell this place. So Master is telling, if you have the grace of this place, see, very rarely Master used to mention about his grace. And he's telling, see, these are to be noted, etched in your heart in golden letters. What if you are married? Haven't I too been married? What is there to be afraid of in that? If you have the grace of this place, meaning himself, even, notice word, even 100,000 marriages will be powerless to affect you. Even 100,000 times you marry. If you have the grace of this place, nothing will affect you. That is the power of Sri Ramakrishna. What is there to be afraid of that? If you have the grace of this place, meaning himself, even 100,000 marriages will be powerless to affect you. If you want to live a family life and realize God at the same time, bring your wife here once. I will make both of you fit for that. And if you want to renounce worldly life and attain God, I'll make that also possible for you. It was thrice for Master. Such was the power. If you just cure some diseases and bring some ashes and give some gold ring, do you think that is miracle? This is real miracle, transforming character. Transformation of character, which you cannot give it up even if you spend lives and lives together. that can be just removed by Master's just will. That was the power of Sri Ramakrishna. Even 100,000 marriages will be powerless to affect you. I will make both of you fit for that. And if you want to renounce worldly life and attain God, see, giving God realization is a simple thing to Sri Ramakrishna. I'll make that also possible for you. Yogin was stupefied. What was this he had heard? Was it possible? He felt himself suddenly transported from a region of utter depression and despair to one bright with hope. Was this why Master had accused him? Just to make him come to see him? Yes, a dead weight was lifted from his heart and he breathed freely again. Yogin bowed down to the Master with tearful eyes. Then the Master, taking Yogin's hand, escorted him to his room. When Yogin wanted to return back the money, he referred to the payments of the balance of the money. The Master would not even listen to that. That was just an excuse. The spiritual relationship between Master and the disciple was re-established. Sri Ramakrishna reinforced Yogin's spirit of renunciation, and clouds of Maya that had been hovering in Yogin's mind disappeared. He began once more to spend time with Master. Yogin felt a little guilty because of his behavior towards his wife, and he wanted to do something for her. One day he said to Master, "Sir, you have taught me how to overcome lust. Could you do something for my young wife? Otherwise, she has to spend her life in despair. What will she do the rest of her life?" Sri Ramakrishna replied with assurance, "Don't worry, my child, about your wife. Bring her here once, either on Tuesday or Saturday." Because Ramakrishna considered Tuesday or Saturday to be very auspicious for the worship of Divine Mother, Kali. And the Divine Mother will grant what is right for her. Accordingly, Yogin took his wife to the Master, who accompanied them to the Kali temple. Yogin and his wife bowed down before the Divine Mother. The Master blessed Yogin's wife, touching her head. He then said to Yogin, "You will not have to worry about her anymore. I have given everything to her." Yogin realized that the Master had taken on the responsibility of his wife and relieved him of it forever. Human relationships are very fragile. Even a little clash of self-interest can break them. Yogin was deeply involved in spiritual life. His parents upbraided him for his indifference to the world. One day, his mother reprimanded him, said, "If you don't care to earn money, or if you don't want to have any relationship with your wife, why did you marry?" Now, Yogin replied, "Mother, didn't I tell you again and again?" He replied, "Yogin, I had no intention of marrying. I had to give away my resolution only for your tears." Now, mother replied, scolded him. "What? What do you mean?" exclaimed the mother. "How could you marry unless you had the desire to do so?" Yogin stared at her and remained speechless. He thought, "Gracious God, I committed this act to please my mother, and now she talks like this. Why on this world, Sri Ramakrishna is the only person I have met whose words and thoughts are in perfect accordance. We speak something, we do something, we think something. It was she who forced him. Now she's telling, you married for your desire. Will anybody marry because mother tells?" So he was so hurt. How can my mother tell a lie? Told, it's only Master. It's only Master whom I have seen in this world, nobody else. I have met so many whose words and thoughts are in perfect accordance. That is truthfulness. After that, he became disgusted with the world and found his only solace in the company of Sri Ramakrishna. He spent his days and sometimes nights in the temple garden in spiritual practices. With one last incident, I'll close because so many beautiful practical spiritual teachings are there. But time. Just very quickly, I will go through this last incident for today. You can take the book and read, then get that joy of spiritual life. A real teacher practices what he preaches in his speech and action. If his speech and action do not coincide, people do not trust him. Sri Ramakrishna would therefore ask his disciple to test him as a money changer tests their coins. One evening, in olden days, the money was of golden coin. There would be some duplicate or something, so the money lenders used to rub it and find whether it is gold. They would test and test, only take the money afterwards. So, Master is telling his disciples to test him. It is Ramakrishna himself, as a money changer, test their coin. He would never tell, just believe me. Test me first and then accept. One evening, Yogin decided to spend the night with Master. This incident will really, stupefy you. He decided to spend that night with Master, with the intention of serving him if needed. Sri Ramakrishna was pleased. After dinner, the Master went to bed, and Yogin made his own bed on the floor and slept. Throughout his life, Yogin was a light sleeper. He would not sleep much. In his last incarnation, what was his name? In the Bhagavad Gita, I tell, Gudakesha. What is Gudakesha? Arjuna was called Gudakesha. In Bhagavad Gita, it comes again and again. Means one who controlled his sleep. Arjuna was called Gudakesha, who had controlled his sleeps. So now, he was a very short sleep. So now, he's sleeping. At midnight, Yogin woke up and found that Master was not in his bed. Master would never sleep. The whole night he would be in ecstasy, meditation, chanting the name of God. But now he is not in his bed. He first checked the water pot which the Master used for washing and found it in its proper place. Then he thought that he might be walking outside but could not find him there. Suddenly, a terrible suspicion gripped his mind. Master preaches to be pure and give up lust. Has the Master deceived us? Has he gone to Nahabat concert tower to be with his wife? In the daytime he preaches something, in the night time he has gone to be with his wife. So what a terrible doubt came to the mind of Yogin. To be with his wife, can it be possible that his actions are contrary to his teachings? Determined to find out the truth without delay, Yogin went out of the room and stationed himself near Nahabat at the door of Mother Sharda Devi's room, Nahabat, to catch Master red-handed if he has gone there inside. See the terrible doubt. But while he waited there and watched the door of the Nahabat, he heard from behind the clattering slippers sound coming from the side of Panchavati. Within a few minutes, Sri Ramakrishna appeared in front of Yogin and asked, "Hello, Yogin. Why are you standing here near the door of Nahabat?" Embarrassed, Yogin hung his head in shame for having doubted Master and could not utter a single word. Instead of, now, Master is all-knowing. Can you hide anything from the mind of Master? He can just read anybody's mind. So you could see why he was standing there. But instead of taking offense, Sri Ramakrishna reassured Yogin. He was not at all offended. He was not insulted by this doubtful nature of the disciple. He reassured Yogin, well, my dear child, you are quite right. You must examine a sadhu, holy man, by day and by night before believing in him. See? Though forgiven, Yogin could not sleep anymore. That was Master. So many more wonderful things are there. Future, if that permits, let us go through that now. We shall, at least whatever we have imbibed, we have heard some of the wonderful teachings and the way Master behaved, that egoless nature, that wonderful humility, and other beautiful things which Master has told and taught Yogin. And we have heard, maybe for this 30 minutes, if you can start practicing a little, that would make wonders in our life. As Sri Ramakrishna is told, Swami Vivekananda is told, if you do Sastanga Pranam to Sri Ramakrishna, you prostrate before him, instantly that person turns into gold. Vivekananda statement. So turning into gold means you will become people of good character. You will be transformed into gold means beautiful character will come out of you. So let us at least imbibe some of the beautiful teachings and the life of Sri Ramakrishna and turn ourselves into gold. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Tat Sat. Shri Ramakrishna Arpanamastu.